for those folks who may not be familiar with Storyland, who is Storyland and how did you guys get involved with us?
Yeah, Storyland, we're a creative design studio. We get to work on architecture projects, creative design. Overall, we always say that what we love to do is design experiences that lift the human spirit. So whether that's working with nonprofits or themed entertainment clients, a lot of our studio leadership and founders were former Imagineers and really cut from the Disney Imagineering cloth. And so, yeah, we got to start working with you guys almost 3 years ago now. We were originally introduced by the Green family and got to jump in on the master plan. That was it originally. It was just let's look at the overall master plan of this site and how can we design a site, locate the buildings, the size and the shape and the design of these buildings in a way that's consistent with the story that you guys are trying to tell. Make sure it's a place that's inviting for new families and for the kids. And from there, we got to just roll right into more and more and got to continue helping you guys with the theming and the graphics of this new tower. We've got to help now with what we call the kind of cast culture workshop. And it's been such an honor getting to now really touch almost every part of the hospital and help think through how to tell a consistent story that's one of making this a landmark of hope for kids to become and just be inspired and feel a sense of curiosity and wonder instead of potentially all the worry and anxiety that they come to a children's hospital with.
So why is it important to connect? Because you mentioned story.
Yeah.
And you mentioned culture, but that doesn't usually translate into a brick and mortar building. So what's important about that connection?
Yeah.
We talk about space.
We have a conviction, and it's more than just us. We read it all over, including in the Bible, but we just have this conviction that everything speaks. There's just a reality that humans, the way we're designed, we're taking in so much data in any given moment through our five senses. We cognitively process a small percentage of that, but the rest is still happening and our brain is still processing it. And so everything is speaking, and most of the stuff is speaking before a person ever gets the chance to open their mouth. So the way you design your building, the way people have heard about you beforehand, the way they experience your website, the wayfinding, the parking, all of that is speaking to people and inviting them into a story before we ever open our mouths.
And for us, even just the facility itself, maximizing the potential of the facility for the purpose of maximize the purpose of the child is very much in line with who we are. And I think it is very much in line with who Storyland is. You've elevated us in this partnership, but we're not your only client. So tell us a little bit about who all Storyland works with. What are your clients? What are some of the things that in that space?
We get to work with such a wide range. So obviously folks like you guys doing this children's hospital, but also some of our clients are these massive, themed entertainment clients wanting to build city-sized attractions and destinations, investing hundreds of millions of dollars around the world, building these just massive human magnets, right? And then the next week, I'll be traveling to some small church in the Pacific Northwest, a church of 100 people, and helping them think through how they can use their space. So it's this really incredible range of getting to work with these massive, well-known companies, the Disneys and the Universals and Cedar Fair, and people that are trying to be new entrants into similarly sized markets, and doing that literally across the globe. Yeah. And then getting to work with, okay, there's this church down the street, and they're trying to figure out what's next for them, and they've got this one generous donor, and we want to build a playground for their early childhood area, or whatever that is.
One of the first things I really appreciated about our journey with Storyland is the fact that you came and listened. And you listened to not only us, but our partners, our community, those who care for the kids. And from that, you started to develop kind of an idea. So talk to us about that idea journey. You mentioned a couple things earlier, and we'll press into that. So talk to us about how does that start, and then how did you get to where we are today?
So we always start with what I personally often will refer to as like fracking for raw story. We just drill in and we just want to extract as much raw story as we can. Our job is not to come in and the example I always think of is in the movie Elf that a lot of people have seen. They hire the author to come in, and he comes in and he's got 3 amazing stories and they just need to pick whichever one is their favorite kind of. We never want to do that. Yeah. We're not coming in preloaded with here's the things that we've just been waiting for Children's Hospital to let us run with. we want to come in and really just dig for what story is already happening here. And that was immediately obvious as we started to spend time with you guys. This story of this being a place of hope and a place of inspiration and excellence. And so that led us down this journey, also realizing, of course, that we have this unique opportunity right on the historic Route 66. Basically, what we saw was, man, people are coming here often telling themselves a story of, this is a chapter of my life. Either, man, my life is basically done. I just am going to kind of try to get through the rest of it. But my story is not being really written anymore. Or if it is, it's a chapter that I'd really rather just kind of glue those pages together and pretend it never happened.
Sure.
And so the hope was that we could invite people into a different story, that this is a meaningful chapter of everyone's life, one that they should be excited about, curious about. It's a chapter of transformation in this journey of life. Saw the opportunity to see, kind of draw the parallel between Route 66 and the journey people go on there and the journey of life that people are going on, and let this be a landmark along that journey, or a chapter in that story of transformation. And instead of a chapter of worry and fear and anxiety, a chapter of curiosity and adventure and transformation.
So introduce us to Kal.
Yeah, we early on decided, man, we need to make, if this is going to be a landmark, we need something iconic, so that as people kind of, the hospital crests the horizon as they're coming, it stands out. And people, whether on just a trip for Route 66, or they're coming to the hospital, they have this icon that makes them think, man, that place is fun and exciting. And so we started there, and we thought, man, what could that be? Pretty quickly we landed on, man, what if it was a big caterpillar? Because caterpillar can be kind of warm and inviting, but it also gets transformation. It understands that, and maybe, the transformation a caterpillar goes through is not pleasant. They completely dissolve and reform into a butterfly. So we got to that point, and then it just kind of has grown from there. So of course we have Kal climbing up the side of the building and welcoming everyone as they approach the hospital. But his story has now developed, and we've been able to really start thinking through how the other characters, the icons along Route 66, like the big blue whale of Catoosa and the dinosaurs of Holbrook, they can become this cast of characters that are his friends, and they come alongside him in his journey and can keep him company. And we actually just had the chance to help put together a little children's book too, and it tells that story of Kal. He's a little unsure. He's realizing that he's supposed to go through this metamorphosis soon. He's like, it's kind of nice being a caterpillar. That's what I know. That's what I'm used to. He doesn't know what it's going to be like, whatever is on the other side of this transformation. So he's unsure, but he gets to go and get reassured by his friends, the dinosaur and the whale, and they get to kind of encourage him. And then his bee, Honey, gets to come alongside and tell him, hey, it's okay. I'll be watching over you. I've got the plants all ready. The flowers are blooming. It's going to be great. And so he gets to go through that experience, and he goes through his metamorphosis and comes out the other side different. Now he's got wings instead of all his little walking legs, and he gets to fly around, and it's a completely different experience, but now he gets to experience the world in a new way. And we just recognize that that's going to look different for every child that comes here, what life will look like for that family and for that kiddo before their time at Bethany and after. And so the hope is through that story of Kal going through his own transformation and becoming a butterfly, that will help it be an encouragement for these kiddos and their families to think.
It seems like that principle really can be applied to all of us, right? We're all going through some journey. We're all going through some sort of transformation.
Yeah.
So at the end of this project, what do you hope to accomplish? What do you hope to see accomplished at the end of the day?
I learned doing this project, the number one wish that kids that get to do Make-A-Wish organizations, they want to go to Disneyland. They want to go to a place where they can just immerse themselves in this total carefree experience. And many can't. Either they don't get a wish granted, or they just physically, medically, there's no good way to get them out to Orlando or to California. How cool to have a place here where kiddos can come and get a little taste of that here. But so much of it is, we just love the opportunity to get to help be even a small part of housing the stuff that you guys are already doing. I have friends in other states who have kids that need care, and I just wish that they could have access to what you guys are already doing, the level of care that you guys provide. So to just get to help play even a small part in being fuel in that engine, helping to create a space that can facilitate that excellent care you already provide, helping to guide conversations around cast culture and employee culture and behaviors that can amplify what you're already doing is just such an honor. I just can't wait for the day that we'll get to come and walk through this new building and see kids being cared for in such fun and creative ways. Just an extension of what's already happening.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for spending some time with us. It's been great to be on this journey with you. It's been transformational for me. Hopefully it has been for you. Yeah. And I can't wait till we are standing there together cutting the ribbon on this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Nico.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good to see you.